In today's world, we have access to just about everything with the click of a button. Things that we want can be delivered within a short amount of time, which leads to impulse buying of items that clutter up our houses and drain our wallets. Now, if you're anything like me, I prefer to save as much money as possible so that I can invest it and also save it for items that actually bring value to my life. There was a time many years ago during the Great Depression where people had to survive on very little. They had to get creative on making their life work with very little money and resources. I think that all of us can learn something from that period of time. So in today's video, I'd like to share 24 old-fashioned frugal living tips that will save you a ton of money. Turning off the TV will save you a lot of money. Not only will you save on electricity, more importantly, you'll be able to spend the extra time on meaningful activities, like improving your skills and learning a new hobby. As for me, I ditched my TV years ago, so it's not even a problem. I have no direct TV or cable expenses, and there are no advertisements constantly being pumped into my brain. Now, cooking at home is one of those areas that will improve many aspects of your life. Cooking at home is a great way to cut food expenses. It's also healthier because you can control the ingredients, like salt and sugar. For me, there's a real sense of accomplishment when preparing a delicious home-cooked meal. It's a great way to have family or friends eat together and share in a much more affordable activity than going to a restaurant. So that leads me to my next tip, eating at home. It's important to try to limit the amount of times you eat out, which of course includes prepared food being delivered to your house. Restaurant food and delivery fees are pricey. Although there are some cheaper alternatives, they are still considerably less nutritious. So definitely try to eat at home and consume home-cooked meals as much as you can to save money. And when you're at home, look up some simple recipes. Considering that you are going to eat a lot of home-cooked meals and cook from scratch, look for easy recipes so you don't get overwhelmed. As your cooking skills improve, you can graduate up to more difficult recipes. But honestly, keeping it simple will save you money on ingredients and time. Since we now have 24-hour access to the internet, you'll be able to find plenty of one-pot recipes, which are easy to make and very delicious. Don't waste any leftovers. If you live alone or miscalculated the amount of food to cook for the family, don't throw leftovers away. Always try to keep your leftovers in the fridge and have them as the next meal to eat it as is, or you can even spice it up to make it a new dish. Wear an apron when preparing food. Have you noticed that your parents and grandparents always cook with an apron on? Oil and food stains are a nightmare to remove, and they consume a lot of time, so save yourself the scrubbing by wearing an apron. And it will be even better if you get one that's waterproof. Switch up your diet for more greens. Meat back in the day and even now is expensive because its price tends to fluctuate. Consider cutting out meat and swapping it for healthier greens. Drink water. A significant expense we might not notice is sodas, coffees, and other drinks that we spend excessive amounts of money on. Bring your water wherever you're going to avoid the health and wallet scare. Now, if you can't see yourself abandoning coffee anytime soon, why don't you make it yourself instead of paying ridiculous amounts of money for a cup of coffee? Buy some beans in bulk and brew it yourself the old-fashioned way. Learn some baking skills. If you love eating sweets, you can make them yourself. Have your parents or the internet teach you. When baking, it's a good idea to maximize the use of your oven to save electricity or gas. Eat more filling foods. Make sure to include foods like beans, lentils, potatoes, and corn to keep you fuller longer. Use the items you have if you don't have certain ingredients required for a recipe. Try swapping them out with the next best thing. However, do add alternative ingredients moderately and taste what you're cooking to avoid wasting food later if it tastes like shit. Reuse old containers. A staple item that you might see at your grandparents' home is recycling jars and containers. Not only are they better for the environment, but containers like glass jars are also more hygienic than plastic and much easier to clean. Buy in bulk, but be careful that you don't buy too much. Only bulk buy the food that you can eat. Also check the expiration date and see how long you're able to keep it on the shelf in your home. Have a small garden, or even a big garden if you have the land. Nothing is more old-fashioned than growing your own food. Don't worry if you don't have any experience gardening. Just start with easy crops like potatoes, tomatoes, or herbs. Consider preserving any extra food. By doing this, you won't waste your money by throwing out unused food. You can look up information on how to preserve them through canning, making preserves, or making fruit jams. Bake your own bread instead of buying them from the bakeries. Look up how to make them, or you can purchase a bread maker from a secondhand store. This tip is especially useful for people who like to eat bread as part of a meal or snack. Do home improvements yourself. Old-fashioned people have a do-it-yourself mentality. If you want a wall painted or a change in bathroom tiles, research to see if you can do it yourself. It will save you a lot of money on labor, but if you don't think you can do it yourself, I would recommend leaving it up to the professionals. Never have an empty pantry. Having an empty pantry can mean impromptu grocery trips where you buy more than you need, or it can mean eating out. Always keep your pantry stocked with staple items to prevent sudden trips to the store. You definitely want to avoid name brands if you can by buying generic brands. Now, it's not as bad as you think it is, especially when it comes to quality. As of late, supermarkets have even come out with their own cheaper lines as alternatives. These generic items are as good as name brands, but aren't as expensive. Downsize your property. If you genuinely want to live frugally, think about getting a smaller house or property so you use less energy and spend less on general expenses like maintenance and repairs. Use reusable cloth products. Ditch the disposable paper towels and buy reusable ones. Like microfiber wipes, they last a long time and are washable. This will save you a lot of money by not having to buy single-use paper towels. Exercise at home instead of paying money on gym fees. Exercising at home is just as effective and it's free. With things like YouTube, you can even bring the gym to you and learn different workout routines to keep you motivated. Try sewing. Sewing is an important life skill that can save you a lot of money. Watch tutorials and learn basic sewing techniques that you can use on your next sewing project. You'll be able to mend clothes yourself, which will prevent you from discarding clothing items that you can still use. It will also save you money for not hiring a professional to do it for you. Adjust thermostat settings. You can save 20% on cooling and heating annually by adjusting your thermostat. Set it back 7 to 10 degrees Fahrenheit for 8 hours daily. Adjust it before leaving for work and before going to bed. You'll see significant savings on your electric and gas bills. If you found these old-fashioned money-saving tips useful, hit that like button. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.